What's up, people? It's Matthew Bernetta here showing you this $2,600 PC build. This thing is a monster. It's going to run anything in 4K, your gaming, your video editing, your Facebook scrolling, whatever you want. This thing will do it. Now, looking at all these parts, I know it might be a little daunting to think you can build something like this, but I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in this video. Just stay tuned and check it out. Now guys, everything right here can be found in the description below. It's all Amazon links. If you can find it cheaper somewhere else, go ahead and find it, but the best I found is all on Amazon. Without further ado, let's take a look at all these parts individually for all the specs, and if you need to skip this section straight to the build, click this box right here. I think it's right here. Okay, let's get into it. This is the Primera series PM01 case. It's got a bunch of LEDs in it, a bunch of fans. Y'all fanboys will like it. It is open. This is big. So basically the chassis comes with some instructions, and then it's got, obviously the front grille with a bunch of fans, back grille, bunch of fans, everything else pretty self-explanatory. Giant window for LED lights to shine through, awesome. Top has 4 USBs and 2 imports. This is the 3TB Toshiba high-performance hard drive, P300. This thing just basically has your connections, which are corded up with the motherboard. Nothing really inside except for the hard drive itself. EVGA SuperNOVA 750 P2s. This thing is a giant power source, really nice, sleek design. Nothing really inside here except for a nice little neato bag, bunch of cords.
Goodbye.
You'll see on the back there's all the connectors and then your power supply. So these are the GeForce GTX 1070. I got 2 of them. We're going to bridge these things together and they're going to run in unison inside the box. Inside the box they have a DVD-ROM for, your drives. Graphics cards, again, have their own fans on them. This is the Vengence LPX DDR4. This is 2 16GB, and this is going to be all your RAM processing power inside your computer. This right here is just Windows 10 Home Edition. This right here is where you're going to be putting your system. That Windows 10 is going to go on the solid state. And then there you go. You got the tiny little solid state. This thing is perfect for fast computing. This is going to be the one that works in unison with the hard drive in a RAID setup. H100i version 2 from CORSAIR. This is the cooling system for your CPU. It's going to move heat from your CPU out to the fans. The CPU connection right here connects out to these fans, which run out of the top of your chassis. It's got 2 fans connecting there. That is a radiation grill. Basically all the liquid coolant goes through there and disperses the heat out of these 2 fans. This is the Strix ZE70E gaming motherboard. Motherboard looks pretty decent. It's got all the connections for everything that you want here, and we'll show you exactly how to connect that up. And the great thing is that this thing has plenty of fan connections. And then your Core i7. Okay guys, it's time to finally build this thing. First thing we want to do obviously is take apart this case right here. Take the panels off, get everything ready to accept all the components, and then we'll move forward with putting it back together when we're done. Check it out. Alright, you want to take off these screws on the back. Tight. Make sure when you build this you got some kind of a bowl to keep all your parts in. Okay, we're going to remove this front panel, grab it from the side, pull it back, and it pops up and out. Now here on the other side it's just a little bit harder to pull off, but just pull it. It'll snap. You just pull the piece off and you got access to the back. So first we're going to plug in everything that goes onto this power supply. So you want to get your main power here, which on this is the MB. Now next you want to plug in your VGA cables. That's for your graphics cards, right? So you'll go into VGA 1. There we go. So that's both your graphics cards. Now notice when you plug these in, you want to plug in the ones that have 2 cables on the end, right? So you'll have one that has 4 and then one that has 3. So that's going to go into your graphics card, motherboard, and 2 graphics cables. Next you'll put in your SATA cables. Do SATA 1 and SATA 2. Alright, and that's going to be for your hard drive. So you only really need to use one, but I use one each. Okay, now we got to put that power supply inside. Make sure to push all the cables to the back and slide that thing in. Line it up. You got your 4 screws in that bag right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop those in your 4 corners. That's it, all connected. Before you put it in, you want to take that motherboard cable and you put it up through the bottom here. Feed it through the bottom there. Comes out the top up here so you can plug your motherboard in. VGA cables, you could pop those up through the top here where your motherboard's going to be going. Take your VGA cables and you're going to pop them through this top slot here, and that's where it can connect to your graphics card from the front and without a problem. Next you can install both your SSD and your hard drive into these slots here. Pull each slot out. I'm going to go with the top ones. So to get the hard drive inside of this, all you got to do is make sure you locate which end is the data portion of it. Place it down right in there. See, it sits fine, data is exposed at the bottom. You're going to screw it through the sides and the holes. Now that it's all screwed on, you got your big black screws right here. You're going to pop that thing right into either the bottom or the top. Since it's heavier, I'm going to throw it on the bottom. Clicks right in place. You're going to do the same thing with your solid state here, except for you're going to anchor it on the bottom. There's holes right there, so you just plug them right in with a Phillips head and a screw from the box. Go ahead and place that thing in there. Like I said, I put mine on top because it's lighter, and it should click right in place. Now you plug the power supply into the SSD and the hard drive. I use 2 separate cables just because I felt like it. You could use one, it doesn't matter. So you're going to take one of these and plug it into each one here. Tuck the rest of these cables just down and away in there. There we go, simple as that. Now you're going to take this panel right here that came with your motherboard, and you'll sandwich it right in the back here. Make sure to move the cables out the way. It just clips right into place. There we go. Clicks right into place. Now before we put the motherboard inside the computer, we're going to put inside the CPU into the motherboard itself. Latch that down and get it ready for the liquid cooling. So go ahead and pop that down. Alright, that'll lift this whole thing up, and that's your cover. You want to remove this. There it is. And there's your cover for your CPU. Now, when you are placing this in, be very careful and make sure you note where the corner here, if you look close, this corner right here has a little triangle on it. You're going to want to line that up, and I'll show you how to do that. Now find the corner on the top, right? You got a little corner up there. That's where it is. So we're going to line that up. Now all we got to do is clamp that back down and bring this down and latch underneath. That's it, your CPU is in. Now, if these are not already installed, these are standoffs for your motherboard, put those in where your motherboard holes are into your case itself. So you should have a total of 9 standoffs for your motherboard. So now, we're gonna mount the motherboard. So now we're gonna lay the motherboard in there. So you should have 9 of these small screws. They're the ones with the largest head inside the case. Tighten everything just a little bit until you're ready to tighten it all the way down. Now if you want, you can go through and plug in your fans. These are all your case fans. So if you look at anything that says chassis fan, plug that in. But do not plug it into CPU fan. This is a USB. You can plug it in right here at the bottom. So we'll just plug in the power, the motherboard power, straight into the motherboard. Careful when you press down on this. Okay, it's in. This cable right here, you can plug this directly into your USB 334. Nice and locked. To take this top off, you gotta unscrew these screws and then pop it off. Right here, you're gonna want to plug in both SATA cables into your first slot and then feed them through the back. Cable's gonna travel down here where you're gonna plug them both up to your hard drives, SSD and your hard drive. So I plug in my HD audio over here, and then all of these components right here, you should look up the instructions inside of the book. That'll help you out more on that, but this is how I have mine set up. So to start off, here is the motherboard right here. We're going to apply this piece from the liquid cooling system onto the back to give it some kind of support. There we go. You're going to want to install these little components here. These are standoffs from the liquid cooler. Once both of those fans are mounted on the top, all your screws are in, then you mount these fans to the back here. So the radiator, then the fans get mounted to that radiator, which is mounted to the chassis. Now, you mount this piece, this head, on top here with these screws. Tighten it down until it's nice and tight. Make sure you stick a little bit of the thermal paste. That's for your CPU. Once it's on there, you put that down, screw it down, and you're good to go. Plug this up to one of your USB ports. As you can see in there, you got a USB port. It's plugged in. And then take your cables that come off of your fans and off of your cooling unit on your CPU. And you plug those in. CPU to the CPU, one of them to the optional, and then the other one you can throw over here to one of these chassis. And that's a fan. Now that all that's plugged in, we're going to go for the graphics cards. For this, you're going to need to unscrew 2 of these panels here, and then unscrew 2 of these panels here. Remember to keep all loose parts inside of a bowl or something. Place your graphics card down into this slot right here. There's 2 of them right next to each other. We're going to connect them via the bridge, and then you're going to screw them back on. Alright, this is the first one already installed. We're going to do the second one. Watch out your cables and your cords. It should click in. There we go. Now we're putting in these sticks here. This is the Vengence LPX DDR4 by CORSAIR. This is your RAM. So we're going to stick those in. Logo facing this direction towards the CPU. And what you do is you got to alternate where you set the sticks. So because there is this giant fan in here, you're going to have to lay it down flat, slide it in, and then get it in the track. There we go. Make sure it clicks on both ends. Can't pull it up. You're good to go. Now you're going to want to make sure you pull your power for your graphics cards. So what you got to do is you got to plug in the 8 side to the 8 side, and then the 6 to the 6. Same thing here. That's that. Now the motherboard should have came with one of these bridges. We're going to connect this right here. Alright, so we take all this safety stuff off. You now have 2 graphics cards completely in sync. Now you probably have a lot of leftover cables and whatnot, but that's okay. Just find a box you want to keep and close it. Keep everything in there that you didn't use. Now that everything's connected, let's put your lid back on. Take the lid, put it in place, pop it right into these holes here. Line it up with the USBs first, now close it here. You can go ahead and put the back on it. Take the panel, make sure you catch the grooves here. Make sure it's in. give it a push forward. That's it, it's on. Make sure you didn't lose your screws and throw those back on the back of the panels. That'll keep everything from coming off when you're frequently throwing the computer around. Well, not this one. This one's gonna work like a dream. Got one panel left. You know exactly what to do with that. Make sure you line it up at the holes on the side, top and bottom. Now depending on how your cables are, you may need to push them in just a little bit. But give them a slide forward and then throw your screws on the back. So that's it. That's my $2,600 PC build. You can check out any of the products used inside of this in the details below. Leave some comments if you have some questions, or leave some comments if you like what you see and you want to see more. Now, as I was building this PC, I realized I never put a name to this. Most high-end PCs, people like to name them. So I've got no clue. Let me know what you think. Comment below with a name for this PC, and I'll see you on the next one.